Hi, everybody, and welcome to Chat number 128, the eBay slash Amazon slash reseller chat with Nick and myself. We do this every Tuesday. Ooh, we've been doing this for every Tuesday for like many weeks. I wasn't here last week, but Nick had Tom in on his channel, which was a cool chat. But yeah, it's just our weekly water cooler kind of
Indeed.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. It was nice to have a
Yeah.
chat with Tom last week, but
Yeah.
good to have you back in the saddle.
Yeah, it's just nice, sometimes just to have a little break. And like we took time off our channel as well. As you know, I've got a little addiction that I'm trying to cope with at the moment. um I'm not doing so well with it, but we won't go there anyway. But let's say a few highs. We've already got 40 people on in here.
Yeah, Pete was in
Yeah.
first. Hello, Pete.
Liverpool Delta, Richard Hale, Adrian, Mr. Diggs, Sib Vicious. That's the latest name from Sib. Claire and Leah Resell. Carla's in there as well. Lee's fine. Sally Kelly, Jason Entwistle, Indie Chick, Chelsea Rooney, Fritz, Joan, Glenn Martin, Steve's in there as well. So welcome everybody. It is an incredibly warm day for those of you that are in here. I'm hope you're all coping with it pretty well. It's difficult, isn't it, to keep working in this kind of heat. I mean, I love heat, don't get me wrong, but we're talking 31 degrees in Blackpool, and it was 31 degrees at 3 o'clock in Garstang, which is insane.
Yeah, I do find it harder to concentrate. I find I get lethargic. I was saying to you before, what I've managed to do today is I've done a bit more since I said earlier. I added lots of photos for listings, and since then I've listed another few weird car parts. And that's it. That's kind of my day.
That's it now. It'll be time
for going so slow. It's like an oven in here. I've got the window open, a fan on, bringing fresh air in.
It's one of those situations like where you have like when you work out of your extension or you work out your conservatory, you're gonna either be like boiling hot in the summer or cold in the winter.
Andrew's is similar to the one you're in. You know, Andrew's
the conservatory, isn't it?
Literally like a greenhouse. So she's been sorting out all these clothes that we're going to sell off in the living room. She had to bring them in to work cooler.
Yeah. I mean, Alf has been just literally laying on the floor pretty much all day inside in the shade. How's
Monty's the same. He's here by my side, just sat in the corner where it's a little bit shady.
That's it. Just not moving much. Did take him out for a little walk this morning, but got to be careful. Take him out a bit later in the evening, I guess. Right. Yeah. I hope everyone else is doing okay and getting enough work done. So Carla says, so I won't be chatting, and if I do, it'll probably be with cap locks on. Okay. Claire says, just about to pick up Rupert. Oh, Carla set herself a challenge to do 20 drafts while this is on. That's not a bad idea, is it?
Wow. Keep us updated, Carla.
Yeah. Could you post like little updates on how many drafts you've done during?
I love the whole doing a draft thing and then adding photos using the app later. I find I list so much more, and I don't know why. It just feels easier.
I completely agree with you. It's I wasn't like that before. I did used to get like the photos done first, like I said. So I'd just have like a bulk of photos, and then I'd sit down to do the listings and add the photos. But it's such like a difficult process that sometimes you just wouldn't get through as much work. Whereas if you quickly, like you're saying, like say if you've just been out to the charity shop or car boot and you've come home with an item, you're excited about it anyway, and you always tend to look the price up, don't you? So if you can quickly just knock out a quick draft there and then, it's ready, isn't it?
That's pretty much what I'm doing, actually. I'll do whilst I'm doing my research. So I've kind of done that legwork already, and I found a bunch of listings that have keywords and titles that I like the look of. Just go into one of them, click sell similar.
Yeah.
The lion's share of your work is done, and then you just click save draft, and then when you're ready, you just do the photos and add it on my phone.
Exactly.
I don't know, it just feels more productive. I mean, if I've got loads of similar items to do, I'll still do a batch of photos. Like when I was listing those trading cards, I'd spend 2 or 3 hours just doing like 100 different pictures.
That's kind of like getting your head in that space, isn't it? Oh, ka-ching.
Let's have a look. Wouldn't it be weird if it was that weird car park?
Yeah.
I bet it's not. Oh no, it's trading cards
Oh, there you go.
that I was just talking about. So yeah, 2 more magic cards gone.
Stephen Moore was hoping that this was going to be the naked episode due to the heat, and
Nobody wants to see that.
unfortunately not. Yeah. Um, all right. Yeah, it is definitely a method that I'm been using as well, getting those drafts done, because it, like you said, you've got that first flush of enthusiasm when you get an item, don't you? And you're searching it and researching it. And while you're researching it, why not just use a sell similar, or sort out a fresh draft if you need to.
Well, the price that you think you can achieve is fresh in your mind. While you've got all those keywords fresh in your mind that you've just seen on other listings, you found a listing that worked and got a good price.
Yeah, it's efficiencies, isn't it? It's really efficiencies. I see Darren's in the chat as well. Darren says playing Fortnite and listening. Fantastic.
Is that Darren's playing Fortnite now?
Yeah, he's playing Fortnite and listening at the same time.
We're the soundtrack.
Yeah, but you can't play without sound. I don't know how he's playing without sound.
Oh yeah, because you can hear.
You just can't. Yeah, you just can't play. Yeah. He's just next level. Lee's Finds says I've been sat in a pool in the garden listing. Wow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea.
What? So you got your laptop sat by the pool or in the pool? Yeah. I would be too scared with our little iMac thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Finn Fashion plus Phoebe's in there says I was totally melting yesterday, Jason. Bit cooler today, but still roasting. Yeah, it's very warm here today. I'm so, I had that horrible realization that I was driving around without MOT as well. Oh gosh.
We did that. We did last year on my Ford. I completely forgot. I used to get a little card sent through from my garage, and I either didn't see it or they forgot. Completely forgot, and I went at least 2 months without.
I was 2 months as well. I think it was due in April, something of April.
I do it quite often.
Yeah,
over the years, I probably gained MOT free.
The only reason I think I found out was because when you have your tax renewal coming up, and they send a letter saying we'll auto renew it if you complete. It's got a cross where you're.
Yeah, they know that you're MOT. There's a Gov site you can check when you're MOT.
You can, yeah.
I never knew that existed.
Yeah, you just pop in your number plate and it tells you, yeah. And it's like, why didn't I do that? I think I'm going to have to write it on a key fob or something. But yeah, I had to get that sorted out today as well. But I still managed to get some work done. Alias in the chat says, drafts are cool, but I'm trying to get my sister to do all of it for me even better. The old leveraging your time by using other people's time technique.
Ryan says, question, do you decide the price when selling similar with drafts for later?
Good question.
Do you decide the price when selling similar with drafts? Yeah, when I'm doing the draft, I will punch the price in there and then. I make that decision. And then all I have to do to finish it is add the pictures.
But sometimes when you come to adding the pictures, you've been known to, you're happy with the photos.
I was saying to Zaheer 10 minutes ago that I was listing this. I've just opened this box about half an hour ago. Had no idea what was in it. It's a air conditioning and heating control unit for a truck. This is like an Isuzu NKR, NNR, whatever it is, truck. Hardly any around. But how do you go about pricing this? There's none on eBay.
There's some countries out there which are rammed with them, where every person's van is an Isuzu, and that's where it will go.
Yeah, it's a Far East thing.
Exactly.
They'll be down in Taiwan and wherever. So it's got GSP on it because it's quite weighty.
Yeah.
I went for 40, listed it, and then I said, "This is what I'm listing here." You know what? I'm putting the price up. It's that obscure. I'm thinking maybe
someone will buy. Yeah, someone will buy it. Definitely, it's one of those things where you have to kind of give it, give it a chance.
I listed just one light lens yesterday for a similar truck, and it went 15 quid within a day.
Right. Okay. Amongst your wall of parts there.
Yeah. So there's a market for it. I'm hoping because I've got loads of that Isuzu stuff, boxes and boxes I haven't even opened yet.
I've got to say, I've been feeling in a way. I've been looking at how we're doing with the with our sales and our and the old RC stuff, and I'm kind of feeling like I've taken obviously a bit of time out, chilled out a little bit, and I'm like, but in a way, we paid the work forward. Like you talk about paying it forward. It's
Absolutely.
like, because we worked. When I think about it, we worked really hard to get that amount of stuff processed. I mean, it was insane. That few month patch where we did just work and work and work, literally all day, all night. I remember sitting through bags and bags of parts, spec listing, bringing down bags and bags of parts, sorting them, and touch wood. Since then, it's literally been just paying us
And the
back.
beauty of that is that it wasn't like 5 of these and 3 of them,
No,
like
no.
40 and 50 of
Yeah,
something, isn't it?
yeah.
When
I
you
mean,
actually work out the monetary value, so one listing could have been like 300 or 400 quid at a time,
yeah.
and that's when it really pays off. That 10 minutes of listing time could potentially earn you 400 or 500 pounds. It's like
Suddenly you're
wow.
out. It's just, yeah, it's one of those things, and you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of a break in that respect, because then you think, actually, what else could I do? Obviously you can go more, but depending on how much space you have, depending on how much, well, really, I'd say space and money are two things that are going to determine how much inventory you can hold, aren't they? So
Yeah. I just need to, Corin's just said,
yeah.
I have my friend around and her 2-year-old daughter. Can you please say hello to Michelle and Abigail? Hi, Michelle and Abigail.
Yeah. Hi, Michelle and Abigail. How are you?
I hope we're entertaining.
Yeah. Talking about
Car parts
eBay.
mainly.
Yeah, car parts, real and toy grade, hobby grade. Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Yeah, guys, just to put it out there, if you've got any questions, please, go ahead, because yeah, we haven't really got a topic plan. It was just way too hot. We did think, to do a joke topic, like I messaged you, said we should talk about how to resell in the heat, and you was like, very slowly.
Yeah, I thought you were serious. I thought that's all we were talking about for an hour.
Yeah, let's discuss.
That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, you got to do it really slowly.
Sib has put a question in. Well, he says, not really a question. If you want to be really cheeky, could you send off for quotes on Parts Broker website so you can find out what garages are charging for used Isuzu parts? That's not a bad shout, is it? Really?
Garages are very like on the ball though when you ring up for prices. But yeah, I mean, I think that parts broker website is probably not a bad call. But I know that when you ring garages and ask them for prices, they do try to, they want to make sure they're just talking to the end customer, not competitors. And
I've obviously been Google searching the part numbers and stuff, and on some I've found websites that have these things for sale. And a part like that, if you were to buy it from a main dealer, is like hundreds of pounds.
It would be insanely over market value. Yeah,
and I don't think it's really relevant to the actual market. Certainly not on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get older cars, like for example, if you've got like an older car and you it's just like going to a main dealership, isn't it? Everyone knows if you go to a main dealership, because they're providing official authorized parts, you're going to pay like 3 times per part at least. And
I remember way back, it was around late 90s, early 2000s. I had a Daewoo Matiz, right, and the windscreen wiper motor packed in. And the motor, to get it replaced, would have cost me more than the cost of the car.
Wow!
Because nobody had them in stock in the UK. It was an import only from Taiwan or whatever, and I had to trade the car in just because of a motor. Nobody had any second hand.
And the cost of it was just
I traded the car in for another one, and we got a Clio, I think, or something.
That is insane, isn't it?
It just goes to show parts become obsolete.
Well, at least that's the thing. I think if you can pitch it at that point where you're not asking for ridiculous money, then you will get plenty of sales from those, as you've seen already, haven't you? So
I hope so. I mean, I've gone for 50 free shipping on that, and whatever, it's either going to sell or it's not.
It's just a grind, isn't it, to get through it all.
I know. Yeah. I wish I could wave a big listing magic wand, to be honest.
I mean, it's kind of like, I suppose that's why you're still going car boots, and you went to that garage trail that you said wasn't much cop, right? I mean,
yeah, that's fun. You see, that's the fun of this. If I take that element out, I might as well go and get a real job, because that's the fun part.
But in a way, if you did though, you'd literally be sat there for, if you literally take the next, because it would take you a solid couple of weeks at least to go through all that. comfortably, wouldn't it? If you
Easy.
were just to sit down at least a couple weeks, probably a month or even a month and a half, two
I'd
months.
say a month minimum because there's so much in the loft I haven't even looked at yet.
Yeah. Once you've researched and just like, you're just working through it, or if you did like that couple months, you'd then probably find that you're just sitting back doing nothing for the next couple of months as well. So, I mean, there's
That's a
that
good
possibility.
incentive.
I mean, that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, every time we sell something, it's like, stuff that we listed months ago.
Yeah.
Every day, that's all we sell is stuff we listed months ago. It's just like,
Fritz has said, "Hi there, Fritz.
yeah.
Very neat floor, Nick. You've been clearing a lot of items. All sales? Question mark. No, I just had a big sort out, and look at that.
Wow.
We do have some guests coming at the end of the week, which has kind of motivated me. You'll see because there'll be a video coming out. So yeah, there's an ulterior motive to tidying up.
To keeping it clean. Karin says, hope you all had a good day. Still roasting here. It's still surprisingly warm. I mean, I've actually got all the doors and windows open, so just trying to keep cool as possible.
Peter Ray says there, been answering a few stupid questions on eBay that people say and ask about listings. And then he puts in capitals, read the description. I think it's just part of the territory. You just have to get used to people just being a bit daft.
You do have to, you just, it's one of those situations where like we get such weird questions. Like people assume that you have, if you sell an item, they will send you a question about like a related item that you probably have never had or know about, or they just think that because you're selling an item on eBay that automatically that should mean you should be an expert in like, kind of like when you talked about when you had the game shop, when people used to come in and expect you to be able to talk to them about any video game that was on the shelf at length because you had a games shop. It's kind of like,
it's funny. It's an assumption people make, that you're instantly an expert because you are happening to sell it.
So and you do get that, and that can be a little bit kind of like, oh come on, but like what's the you'd need like digital calipers to measure some of these parts, and what's the difference between this hole and this hole, and
Lex has a barbecue on the go, and she says, "Who wants a sausage?"
Oh, great idea, Lex.
I would have a sausage right now.
It's a bit warm though, isn't it? I don't know. Do you like when it's really hot like this? I kind of fancy something cool, but then I think about it. I'm like, the only thing cool I can think of is like a salad, and I think, nah, just I don't know what to do.
I'm just thinking back to that barbecue we had at Tom's. Oh, that was good. Like that was.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
Job there.
I think that was like we didn't end up eating till quite late though, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
I can't remember. It was late, wasn't it? It was in the evening.
Around for ages.
Yeah, so that meant it was okay to eat the burgers and stuff because do you know what I mean? It wasn't as hot because it was warm during the day, wasn't it? That was a really nice weather there as well that weekend.
Oh, Mel Sparrow's End has said a question there. Have dug out my old Mega Drive, last played circa 1994, and about 6 games. Is it worth testing it, or can I just list it as untested?
Worth testing, isn't it?
I suppose it's worth it. If you've got a TV you can test it on, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
But then again, if you put it away in 94 and it worked, I see no reason whatsoever why that wouldn't work. And those old consoles, Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, that sort of stuff, they tend to just work.
They're not that much effort to
I would say for peace of mind,
so
you can put tested and working in the description. It's worth half an hour to get it all running.
And also, like, I would say definitely when it comes to selling like those older consoles, do yourself a favor and look for composite video leads on eBay for them, because Mega Drive would have originally come with the old RF antenna cable, and that means most people nowadays don't have the foggiest how to tune them in. Most people didn't know how to do it back in the day, did they? Finding channel 36 was like, it was impossible for some people, but you'll save yourself hassle because it'll be easy for you to test, because you just look for the yellow video in socket on your TV, and gets a little bit better picture quality. But also it means when you sell it on, it will be a lot more easier for your customer, and you're going to avoid any potential kind of headaches as well. If you supply it with it's called a composite video cable, or a composite video lead. You know, I think that's all you need. And then that, I think that would be, it will normally have like a yellow, red and white ending on one end, and the other end will go into the Mega Drive.
I was just reading, Karen is asking, how far is Hitchin from Kent? Was looking at certain job lots on eBay and found one in Hitchin. I'm intrigued as to what it is now. I'm going to be on the searching later. It's about a couple of hours, depending on the time of day, because you'll have to use the M25.
And depends on what part of Kent you're talking about as well.
Coming from the coast, yeah,
4 hours, couldn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, that's intriguing. What are you coming to pick up, Karen?
We're looking at. Yeah. All right, let's have a look. Some more comments coming in. Yeah, Peter Ray saying, yeah, test the Mega Drive in games. Ryan Brown question: have you ever had such a stupid question on eBay you've had to block them? Did we read that? No. That's the variation on the previous question. Have you ever had such a stupid question that you've decided that the buyer just...
It's not so much the odd stupid question, it's more people who are that they want a bargain, they want you to send it by first class, and they demand all of these X, Y, and Z and ask you lots of questions about the condition. And sometimes you just get a feeling that they're just going to be hassle. And we've gone to the extremes of blocking people like that.
Yeah.
Because they just end up being more trouble than they're worth. But then for all we know, we just lost the customer.
Yeah.
It was fine. I
mean, it's a bit off-putting, isn't it? I think that's all. Because sometimes you do send things out dreading it, don't you? Because you've had that experience and you never hear from them, or you get some lovely feedback.
I know.
Right? I mean, so it's a very kind of... it's a dodgy path, especially if you're concerned about sales and sales aren't going well. The last thing you want to do, especially when it's not a busy time of year, is turn away a potential sale, right? I mean, you've got to look at that. I mean, obviously, if sales are just flying in for you, then you can afford, I suppose, to be that much more picky about things like that.
I'd be interested to know. Let me know, guys, in the chat, if when you have a customer who's asking lots of questions about condition, asking you to pack it securely in a box, asking you, can you ship it today rather than tomorrow? All of those annoying little fiddly questions that they bombard you with, are they your problem customers? Because they tend to be for me. I want to know if it's just us.
I mean, that's just reminded me of when I sold the turntable, quite an expensive turntable. It was like a £250 turntable, and it was going to Australia. And the guy messaged me with like specific instructions on how he wanted it packaged. Yeah. And you know, I didn't mind doing. I was going to do it in that way anyway, because I actually happened to be using the same website that he'd linked to me to package the turntable, and I just thought, you know, I was going to do that anyway. But I thought that could be quite off-putting in a way, and you know, it makes you double think when you're buying like hi-fi and stuff, like what the kind of customers that you're going to potentially have, especially when they're spending that much money. You can't blame them for, you know, asking for it to be packed well if it's going across the world.
I think a few people have had similar experiences. Shel Staruni says they don't want those pernickety annoying ass buyers. And Karen says block them. Daisy May, customer like that, block straight away. Yeah, so I think over time you gain experience and you just protect yourself a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darren again, he blocks them.
Block them, that's it.
I have a three-question limit.
Yeah, that's quite a good idea.
Three strikes and you're out. You ask me another question and I'm blocking you, okay?
That's it.
If I ever meet Karen, I'm not asking her any questions.
So funny. Okay. Mir Cameron Ali says, yes, buyers who are demanding and asking extra questions is a sign of a potential problem. Carla says 10 done, running out of steam. She's got 10 drafts done so far.
Oh, that's quick. Nice.
That's pretty quick, actually, Carla. Did I say? I might have said Karen. Carla says 10 done, running out of steam.
Yeah.
Death by Glamour says, good. I didn't get notification. Hi, folks. Typical YouTube, eh? Typical. I did share it in the Tat Chat group as well. So
we do go live at the same time, to be fair, isn't it?
It's easy to forget, though, isn't it? It's nice to get a reminder.
We forget we're actually going to go live on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on it.
Uh,
Steve Moore says, I sold a tape recorder. The guy wanted to know first if his mum could speak on it. Oh, as she was near dying, then said it would be for his son. What? That's the weirdest thing.
so they
That is
wanted to
such a
record the mother
yeah,
for the son. Is that right?
that's yeah, but like what why would they tell you that? That's such a awkward, you know,
Were they trying to get
like
a discount? Is that
request.
one of those? Could you do it cheap? Because I
Yeah,
want to record
because
my dying mother.
I don't know. God, I hope not. I hope not, because that's pretty grim.
Sid Vicious has said, I've blocked loads of people who ask questions before purchase as I ritually look at the feedback they have left for others. That is a good tip, actually.
Yeah,
I've blocked loads who have left a high number of negs. Yeah.
that is a good idea. That
Yeah.
is something I sometimes forget to do, but yeah, that is a really good idea.
Where the username is, you'll have the feedback number. That is a link to their feedback, and you can refine that by
Yeah.
feedback left for others.
Yeah.
And you'll soon see if they are a habitual negative feedback or complainer.
That is, yeah, that is such a good idea, actually,
Yeah,
Sib.
we do that.
And that's like very like proactive, isn't it? It's just
At
like
least
looking.
if your
Yeah.
kind of spidey senses are
Mm.
pricking up and you're like, this person's trouble, that at least at that point, check their feedback, and then you can have an informed decision then.
Andy Robinson says, we had the hi friend eBayer buyer message yesterday, followed by a paragraph proving that they hadn't read our listing. Yeah, I mean, Shelster Rooney says, I've twice recently not blocked multiple question askers. They've bought and return immediately. Blocked one before they could buy earlier. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think there's a consensus here. We're in agreement for one.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there seems to be quite a
time wasters reveal themselves to you. You just got to
yeah,
spot them. Yeah.
got a Harry Potter book. Customer wants me to photo it all the way around, says Ryan Brown.
Well, every page as well.
just maybe they just want to read it and they just want it to be sent to them like
read
a
the book to me.
yeah.
Ring me up and give me a
Can
summary.
you email me a photo a week? If they're asking you to email a page a week, then they're trying to recreate that novel by parts that they used to do in the old Sunday papers, where serialized novels, you know, that they used to have on the Sunday papers. I don't know if they still do those or not. Where, yeah.
Or can you read it for me and give me a summary so I can write my school essay about it?
The best question I had was some guy asking me what was covered for his car in the Haynes manual.
I've had a lot of questions about these manuals. I've got the really slow moving car manuals left, and I've had all sorts of questions about, does it, like the person who just asked that question, does it explain a certain procedure? Does it have X, Y, and Z? And these things are massive, so I really can't be asked to look through them. So I just say I don't know.
Yeah, even if you look through them, I mean, they're technical manuals. Unless you're like a mechanic, how are you even gonna like know what it's kind of?
The first couple of questions I tried to find out, but they're like a nightmare. They're
like, I saw something, they're like that big, aren't they?
You need to know what you're talking about before you start looking.
Yeah.
I've had the same grief with those, and a lot of the car parts. We've had a fair number of phone calls from people that will ring up because we have our number on our eBay, and start asking me all technical questions about their car, and they give me their registration number and ask me will it fit and all of this.
Will it fit? Okay.
And I've got a spiel now where I say, look, I know as much about you do as these car parts. I bought them at auction and I'm just selling them off. And then they go, oh,
okay,
bye.
So I should know what I'm buying.
Oh, God. Well, Lonnie's in. Hey, Lonnie, how are you doing?
Lonnie, how are you, man? Yeah. Lonnie says, just when I sense a certain tone, I don't answer and they go away. I usually don't block, says Lonnie. Okay, but when you get a certain sense, you don't answer. So, you know, not answering is not a bad thing. Sometimes I'm uncomfortable when I've not been given the time to answer, and then they go ahead and buy the item anyway.
Yep.
And then you think, well, why did you buy it if you've got this doubt? I've
had that a number of times. They ask a question about condition or something.
Kay Horsley says, question, hi Nick and Z, I found a nice item at work. It is a Sega Saturn. Is it any good?
Yes,
definitely. especially if there's any games with it and things. Yeah, I mean, should be.
Saturns can be quite flaky.
Hmm.
The disc, the lasers go. I think it's the lasers, either that or the drive. So it'll certainly need testing.
Yeah.
Going back to customers again, Karen Sells says, I had a customer, I had someone ask me why I wouldn't accept £3 free postage on a baby snowsuit. I blocked and got 20 messages asking why they couldn't buy
Oh my
because they've been
god,
blocked. Yeah.
that is crazy. That is actually a little bit crazy. I've had a weird, kind of weird thing happen. Like I sold some oil filters, like tiny little ones for like a petrol engine radio control car, and they went into Australia. And this guy bought what I had left, which was three of them at like a tenner each or something. And he left me positive feedback saying two of them were great. One of them, the foam had perished because these are for older cars, and over time things like foam can become like it can become hard and flaky, can't it?
Yeah.
And in that case, as an oil filter, it wouldn't perform its function. It would let dirt into the carb or whatever. And like this guy just left me positive feedback, said two out of the three are good. One of them was fit for the bin. I was like, you've just spent 40 quid and you've paid shipping to Australia. You've left me positive feedback and you've only got a third of your item. And I was like,
weird in that situation because
yeah,
we've all had people that are trying to get money out of you that they're not entitled.
yeah.
In that
But
situation, you'd have been like, fair enough. Here's
I actually, he reverse psychologied me, I think, because I actually then messaged him and said, look, I wouldn't ever expect you to, like take that hit if it's like that, because it's completely possible that I could have just missed that the phone would, because they're all in packets, these parts, they're
there's
all,
no way of knowing.
yeah, they're all packeted up, and unless I'd looked really closely to see whether it had perished or not, and I sorted him out anyway because I thought these things owe me like barely anything, so
you refunded in the 10 anyway.
yeah, I was like,
Nice one.
yeah, I just thought like I wouldn't want I don't want someone going away feeling like they've been had. You know what I mean? Like you've paid for three, only gotten two, and he felt like he had no recourse, and I'm like, dude, you're a customer.
You get all extremes of people on eBay. Yeah. You really do.
Yeah, so
really take the piss, and people are too nice for their own good.
Yeah, and you're like, come on, the truth, like I say, is always somewhere in the middle, isn't it? The best place to be is in the middle. Fritz Stell says, when selling electronics on eBay, you better add a video of the working items you're listing. Prevents a lot of problems afterwards. I'm not sure if it would though, Fritz, because surely the buyer could just claim that an item has stopped working because it's been damaged in transit. I'm not sure how much that helps, because like I think I've in the past I've heard people talking about photographing shipping items or photographing parcels. It's not really going to help you in a case.
I remember probably the same thing you're remembering, people saying photograph yourself or film yourself packaging it. It means absolutely nothing, because what's to say after that you took an item out or you didn't post it or whatever the thing is. And eBay are not going to use that as evidence.
You just have to trust that the system works, because I mean, it always reminds me when people talk about those things, it always reminds me of what happened to Craigslist Hunter, where Craigslist Hunter, who's got an established eBay store with thousands of feedback, sells thousands of dollars worth of items every week. A new account on eBay turned up and claimed that like a $2,000 laptop that he had bought from Craigslist Hunter was actually just a box of sand, and Pete had to actually fight tooth and nail with PayPal and eBay, I think, to get that resolved. And in the end, I believe he did get his money back, but I also get the feeling that the guy got the laptop and was refunded as well. Like,
I honestly think if somebody is hell-bent on scamming you, they will.
Yeah.
I think that's unfortunately how you're going to look at it, but they are few and far between. They are the tiny minority, and if you go to all of the lengths you possibly could to protect yourself, you'd never get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, like, marking things, putting tape, but those seals on. Sometimes people put seals on cases of items, like
Some of those
electronics.
things don't take any time. They're not really,
Yeah,
not a lot of
yeah,
cost, and yeah, absolutely
they're
fine. But
deterrents as well, aren't they? They're deterrents more
yeah,
than yeah.
and putting seal picture of the serial number, making
Mm.
it clear that you know the serial number, and explain a little bit in your listing about your returns procedure. All of that will help, but it can't be your main focus because it will drive you nuts. It really will.
Well, something similar has happened to Karen as well. Um, I had a customer recently ask for a partial refund or negative feedback. I said no. He opened faulty item return case and left negative feedback. I rang eBay. They removed the feedback, refunded me, but also refunded the customer. So he got to keep the cover too. So well, there's an example on albeit on a smaller value item, but very similar to what we were just talking about with Craigslist Hunter there, Karin, that you've done everything right, and someone has just wanted something for nothing and has played the system, and eBay have kind of placated you by refunding you, but in the end the buyer has gotten an item and his money, or his or her money, so you
Yeah.
kind of still feel a bit cheated with that, I guess.
Well, do you remember we had one where a customer bought a pair of leather men's shoes, and they sent back same
Different pair, wasn't it?
same shoes, same color,
Yeah,
same size,
yeah, but different.
not the same
Yeah,
exact same shoes. They were moldy
they did
inside,
a swap.
really worn, and I had to fight tooth and nail with eBay, but in the end, I kept my money. The customer didn't get his refund, and they ended it that way. So it was worth doing. But I had to sign all of these legal forms and this, that, and the
Wow,
other.
such a palaver, isn't it? Just to,
Because it
you know,
effectively eBay was saying it was my word against theirs.
mm.
First of all, I had to send in a bunch of pictures of the shoes, which to my mind proved it. But then they wanted, yeah, I had to fill out legal.
I think it's this automatic, benefit of the doubt is given to the buyer, isn't it?
Mhm.
So the burden of proof, as it were, is placed at the seller's feet.
Yeah, and it felt
And
like they
yeah,
just put a few obstacles in our way. So,
yeah.
we had to be really determined to take it all away, and we did. It was only actually
Mm.
25 quid or something. It probably wasn't actually worth my time and stress, but
But
you
yeah.
become kind of on a mission after a while. It's like,
Well, I think that's
it was
that's
so
like the thing
blatant,
with
that one. I
yeah,
felt like they had come in and just stolen shoes from me. That's how it felt, and I was just pissed.
yeah. No, of course, and I think that's the issue. It's like when you sell on eBay, it's almost as if you have to accept, you accept their terms of service, don't you? And I think unfortunately, one of those terms of service does seem to be that you're going to be in a situation they're always going to believe in brackets or in parentheses, they're going to believe the buyer over the seller, and I think that's just an overall business decision to suit them, isn't it? Because they want to make eBay an attractive place to buy, and in the end, as sellers, we want them to do that in a weird way, because we obviously want people to think that eBay is a safe and attractive place to buy, and that does mean giving buyers that that comfort and that freedom, and that I mean, I suppose it's a bit of a nice comparison to Amazon FBA or Amazon,
I was
where
going to say Amazon
yeah,
led the way in this, and eBay has been reacting to Amazon for the last decade. There's no doubt whatsoever.
because
And
Amazon will
all it does
literally
is,
just yeah.
I think most of these policies are fine. It's just that when you add an unscrupulous person to policies that are there to protect buyers, they're just going to abuse it. And it's as simple as
I
that.
mean, it always reminds me. Again, it reminds me. I was seen to, but I sold a camera lens on Amazon for about £110, and like after it was shipped, I saw that there was a refund applied to my account. As you expect, the Amazon just refund you the customer. That's the end of it. I chased it up, and it turns out that even though the tracking said the lens had been delivered, the buyer had said it hadn't arrived. But as far as Amazon are concerned, to preserve their, I suppose, their reputation or their time is so valuable, I guess, that they just give out instant refunds, and that's the end of it.
You
I mean,
could have got your money back. Did you get your
no,
money?
I get my money
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
but I don't know what happened with the buyer. I mean, I know that as a buyer, you have a certain amount of time to return the item. But if the buyer's, because I know if you buy something and you return it, they say you must return the item by this date for you to get.
But he said that he hadn't got it.
But he said he hadn't got it. So what's going to happen to him? I'm guessing he's going to get his money back, and
And if he has got it, he'll keep it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow, the chat is, we've got over 130 people in the chat right now, which is fantastic. So thank you everybody that's in here. Really do appreciate it. If you're enjoying us just chatting away about eBay and Amazon and our weekly water cooler and answering questions, leave a thumbs up. I have put Nick and Andrea's YouTube channel and the Tat Chat Facebook group in the description, but I'm assuming most of you guys, everyone in here, will already
while I think of it, Andrea and I said on Sunday about we are clearing out Andrea's backlog of clothing, and we're going to sell it at cost to whoever wants it. It's probably going to be early next week by the time we have a sort of figure and numbers. So all the people that private messaged me through YouTube or Facebook, I will get back to you. We'll probably talk about it on Sunday, but I think we'll have numbers and volume sometime early next week because we've got a lot on. But thank you for the messages. Yeah, somebody is hopefully going to take the lot off us, or we might do a few smaller bundles. But Andrew's been sorting it all day, and there is so much of it. Seriously.
Kay says, thanks for answering my question. And yeah, it comes with about 6 games and a steering wheel. If it does not work, will I be able to set it for parts? Most definitely, Kay.
You could just list it as is, untested. You will still get it sold.
Yeah.
If you can test it and put tested and working, you'll get that premium price.
And be sure to check the 6 games because you may well have a valuable game in there. Some
Saturn ones. Well, as you know, yeah,
they can go for really high money. Ryan Brown says things with Haynes manuals. I think you've got to make a gut decision whether there are a lot of those cars still left on the road. Some cars are forgotten, some go on and have a cult following.
Haynes manuals at most aren't worth touching. As part of this haul, the manuals I was talking about are actually the official Hyundai workshop manuals. But Haynes manuals, there was about 10 or 12 in the lot, and I ended up giving them to charity.
Oh, here's like a reverse on what we were talking about, Nick. Check this out. Stephen Moore says, put up an advert on Gumtree looking for electricals. Woman wanted lots of money for a stereo. I said, no thanks. She wrote to me every day for a week, moaning that I would not buy it. I mean, that's like a reverse.
You wouldn't buy my stuff, damn you.
Badgering. That is terrible. That is. Why won't you buy my overpriced stereo? I don't understand.
Shelsteruni is off to taxi the kids to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, sounds
have fun.
Epic.
It was Ellen's end of school ball last night. She was dressed up to the nines.
Fantastic.
All her friends were all in like ball gowns and stuff. It was quite
nice to relieve a bit of that exam season tension.
Oh yeah, she's so relieved. And they're all gluing blooming fake eyelashes on and stuff.
Oh, it's got to be done apparently. Just don't try to understand it, Nick.
That's the thing. Yeah,
just let it happen.
The mates all looked like about 5 years older than they normally do. It was quite freaky. It was really odd.
Kay Horsley says, I have also picked up an N64 with games. Is it worth much? Kay, yes, it is worth.
Come on, you know that's worth money. Just look on eBay. Oh, Carla says, done, killed it. 20 drafts. Round of applause for Carla, everybody.
Carla. 44 minutes in, and she's smashed it out. Okay. Wow, you're really far down the. That means I'm really far up.
I scrolled to the end. I was losing track of where I was at.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, Peter wants his burger. I just scrolled back. Lex, where's Pete's burger?
Oh, burger.
Stick it in the post. It'll be with you by Thursday.
One thing I suppose we should just touch on is eBay itself recently, and the issues with photos. I mean, I put up a little video and some people talked about it on the Tat Chat that people that had good till cancelled listings have had a lot of issues, including myself. Thankfully, not all of my listings were affected. I thought if if this issue was to continue carrying on, eventually pretty much all my store would have been affected in this way. And what was happening was every time a good till cancelled listing was coming to its end and eBay were auto renewing it, you were losing all of your photos bar your first photo. And worse than that, when you were clicking into the listing, it would say no photo was uploaded. And the only way to get it back was to revise the listing, but not actually revise anything.
Yeah.
And it affected a fair few of my listings, but luckily they seem to have nipped it in the bud. And the ones that have been relisted on like Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday, and today, they've been all fine. But there's been a good batch of, I don't know, maybe 100 or at least not as many as I thought. I thought it was going to be all 1,000 of my listings are going to get screwed like this, but luckily it was only a few. But it was a bit of a nightmare, and it really got me thinking about, you know, what's the best way of doing this. I mean, I know Joe Penny's and some other people, I think Caroline as well, used to use you know, a program.
So
it's ice cream. Is that the ice cream
van?
Nice. Are you gonna run out?
The front of my house.
Are you gonna run out for a 99 flake?
There's a horde of kids chasing it up the road. Not really. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't even thoroughly checked our listings. The few I looked at didn't have any effects, but we're having the issue where our view count has been screwed for.
Yeah, I've got no view count either. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I think I've calmed myself down as well is, you know, on a lot of the RC parts, I'm like, it's just a random RC part. If someone wants it, they're going to be searching for it, and you kind of only need one photo of it as well. So I'm going to be a bit lazy and just leave it as is.
Yeah, I mean,
I've lost all that work, but exactly. I'm like, yeah.
And most of our good till cancelled is our car parts as well.
Yeah,
and you don't really even need a picture.
Yeah, you don't exactly. More people are going to be searching the code, aren't they? So that's what I'm hoping. But it really did shake it up, because I know that Joe Penny's I used to, at least, and I know that Caroline used to as well. Used to use a third party.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called.
And it stores your listings, so, and all your photos, every listing you ever put up, it keeps the photos and backup. And I think it would just avoid this. And the thing is,
some stopped using that because it used to be free, and then they started charging, I think maybe about a year or so back, that site. I can't remember what it's called though. But anyway, I just want to read quickly. Richard Hale says, Nick, I don't care what you say about Haynes manuals. They are my bread and butter. I wasn't dissing them. It's just the ones that I had from that haul were, you know, unsaleable. People were selling them sort of a couple of quid on eBay, and it wasn't worth my effort. And I tried to job lot them on Gumtree. Not Gumtree, sorry, Spock. Had no interest. So I gave them to Cancer Research because it wasn't worth my time. But yeah, if you can sell them, more power to you.
Exactly.
Oh, and Stephen Moore says, Nick, remember the Amazon TIE Fighter? Do you remember when I had going back to returns? If you haven't seen
I remember that. No, I remember
I had a TIE Fighter, like a big model TIE Fighter toy, returned over a year after I sold it. No box, hardly no figure, no
everything, all the accessories missing. Played with, basically. Yeah,
played with to death. It was just wrecked in a plastic bag, and Amazon accepted the return and took the money out of my account and gave it back to them. Insane. And I had to ring up, and I recorded the phone call to Amazon, and the woman was like, oh yeah, we shouldn't have accepted that return. I'm like, well, why did you? Why come on,
because we're Amazon.
And she just said, yeah, I'll reverse the decision and give you your money back. But it's like, it was laughable, unbelievable.
Hi, Tom's in the chat as well. Hi, Tom.
Yeah,
I see Zaheer isn't salty or grumpy. Oh yeah, I was in a foul mood yesterday.
You were on the stream. I popped back into the stream and you were in a right mood, and I couldn't work out why.
Oh, it's just the game, man. You know, just the game.
Did you get the win you were trying to get?
No, it wasn't. No, I didn't. I still haven't gotten my win. It wasn't that though. It was just Lex says, Adrian, I have 3 auctions ending tonight with bids on them that eBay says doesn't have any views. Yeah, the view counter is definitely
oh, Lex, it's totally screwed. We've got listings with several watches on that haven't been viewed. But how does that work?
All this feeds into, like, I'm normally one to be against like the whole conspiracy theory side of things on, you know, visibility of your store being limited, this, that, the other. But all of this just does make you think that, these are obvious faults that have like an outward symptom that us as lay people can see, right? So, oh wow, there's no view counter. Oh wow, all my photos have vanished.
Yeah.
These have got symptoms. And then you start to think, imagine, imagine all the stuff that's going on and some of this website is ancient. I mean, for example, they need to sort it out. I mean, for example, like a lot of people often can't go to, you've got a power seller rating. You can't find your power seller page. It takes you to it's like an old throwback to like an older eBay, which they've obviously kind of moved on from, but it's still hanging around and lingering. And this website must be so huge and
It's
so
like layers and
massive
layers.
and late. Yeah, like they've
Patched it.
yeah, and you then you do start to think, God knows what they go through on a daily basis just to keep this thing chugging along. And it does it then affect sales? Because we've all had that situation where it's been quiet and then suddenly you get a flurry of sales within 5 minutes, and it's like, what, did all those people really just buy at the same time? Or like,
Yeah.
just saying,
If we
tinfoil
go
hat.
down that, we were going to get into tin hat theory time and the whole switching on and off. I mean, I was reading some people messaged me about this, and a couple of people wanted me to make a video about it. I don't have really strong opinions on that because I don't think it's worth my time getting het up about it. It's an interesting debate about eBay controlling who gets the sales and where they go, etc.
Yeah. But it's not worth worrying about because there's
ultimately
there's nothing you can do.
Let's say like tomorrow I somehow prove that it's right and they are switching my store on and off. Then what? Then what do I do with that information? Nothing. Like, excuse me, eBay, stop turning it on and off. Now say I can do what I want.
Yeah.
Platform. Go somewhere else if you don't like it. That's what
it's part of the reason why I like ranted on YouTube but didn't actually call them. Because I thought, if I do call them, those photos, guys, are gone. I know that a lot of people are saying, oh, they're working on it and they're going to get back to you. No, they're gone, right? Those aren't coming back. And I think a lot of you know that deep down. You're just hoping that.
I thought somebody had found a workaround where they could get them.
There is, but you have to go to Google and get the cached images that's stored on Google search. And it's just, I don't know, man. You have to like save those, and then it just still, not for me. Okay, Ash is saying, Ash, I'm the legend in the chat, says, I once had an Amazon order worth £800 go missing. I contacted Amazon and they sent me a replacement. It wasn't until a few days later I found the item in my shed. So contacted Amazon again and they said I could keep it, despite me saying I was more than happy to return the replacement.
So he had an item
bought something
fulfilled.
No, he bought something from Amazon.
Oh, I thought something he was selling. Okay, right.
He bought something from Amazon for £800 and it didn't arrive. Or so he thought. So he contacted them. They sent him another one, and he found it in the shed. Was honest enough to, firstly, kudos for that at least, because some people wouldn't have even done that. But he then contacts them and says, "Hey, dudes, I did actually get the other one. I found it in my shed. The driver must have left it in my shed. Do you want your £800 item back?" They're like, "Nah, don't worry about it. Just
I don't think the monetary value has any bearing on Amazon. They have a policy and procedure, don't they? It's like if it's a $2.99 CD, they treat it the same as an £800 stereo or whatever it is.
Insane.
That is bonkers.
That is.
I remember a channel that we follow. It's like a family vlog channel, and he ordered the new Xbox One all fangly thing, and they sent him some kids drinks, some what they're called, like I can't think what they're called now, and
Capri Sun.
Capri Sun, it was, yeah.
It was Capri Sun. Okay.
It was Capri Sun, and he ended up they've got a lot of viewers and everything. And he ended up making a song about it, and they released it as a single about how Amazon messed it all up, and it was just brilliant. But it just shows that their systems as well are so flawed. If they can, instead of shipping out a £200 or £300 Xbox, they can ship out a box of Capri Sun.
Amazing,
like,
amazing. Wow. One of their robots must have just misread the barcode.
Had a moment, yeah.
Had a moment, yeah.
Anyone in the chat know the channel I'm talking about, by the way? There must be other viewers. I can't think. Oh, Mitchellax, that's what they're called.
Ryan Brown's his question: do you ever keep contact details of customers to try and direct sell similar item to customer off eBay later? You're not meant to do that, I don't think, but the thought has crossed my mind, but I believe you're not meant to do it, and so I haven't done it.
Carla's saying that visibility. They said in the update email the other day that any listings that did not comply to the EAN thing, so that's the barcode, isn't it, would have little or no visibility. Proves that they can and do have that up their sleeve. So the ability to say yours is not going to be visible and others
because
are.
You've not put in.
I've no doubt they have the ability. All I was saying before is it's kind of their thing to do it. And then I was just reading, Carla goes on to say, surely though, if it were provable, it would be prosecutable. eBay's basic premise is pay us X amount and we will put your stuff in our shop. And I see where you're coming.
But they would just argue it is on the shop. Just look at page 396. It's the 43rd listing down.
Yeah, they may not actually say how visible your stuff will be.
It's still visible. When we say it's not visible, it's visible. It's just how far do people scroll?
And I have no doubt as well, because they'll have lawyers that are good at this. Somewhere in their grey matter, it will be, you know,
you're signing up to this.
We don't guarantee that items will always be visible or find them. You know, there'll just be a sentence somewhere that will get them out of it. But definitely. I'm with you, Carla. I do understand, but I just think I've never been one to get worried about this stuff.
But the thing is, in a way, if you did have, like, you know, proof or whatever, or I almost feel like there is, it then leads to a question. And well, okay, then you really do have to think seriously about you know, if you're after a consistent income, then you do seriously have to think about having, you know, separate sources running as well, because if they can do that, because we've seen massive stores have the same issues. Like I always mention Scavenger Life as well, who've got 2 huge stores, and sometimes they can have shocking sales as well. And you know, because we all work hard to the premise that once you've built up you know, a big inventory and you're regularly listing, you're going to get a regular income. And you know, I suppose you have to look at whether on a month by month basis, how regular is it? I mean, in my case, this month, we're like 30% down on last month, but we are actually 15% up on last year. So it's, you know, you have to kind of work that kind of out for yourself and see how much of an issue it is.
Carla goes on to say, if what they actually do is hide your item at the back of a dusty stockroom under old newspapers, that's not doing what you pay for. And I do get that. I'm with you on that one. Sib Vicious goes on to say, pay us X amount and we will put your stuff in our shop, in quotes. And he says, darling, that's called promoted listings nowadays. You're not paying them enough.
Yeah.
And the whole promoted,
that's the thing. Promoted listings is a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I have not gone down. I don't know if anyone in the chat has used the promoted.
I've used it, Nick.
I haven't used it once.
I've used it, but I've stopped using it. Like, I did use it just to kind of to try it. You know, I like trying.
Like you were getting any benefit, because how would you know?
But it tells you, apparently. You know, it tells you how. Okay. It does tell you. I mean, like, you can see that your listing will appear as sponsored amongst search, and if something sells when someone clicks a sponsored listing, then they charge you. So it does track that info for you, but it does sit uneasily with you, because you start thinking, hold on, I'm like now like paying even more on top of my normal costs. Just, you know.
Yeah, I must admit, when they announced that, I thought that was a really cynical move, because why should we have to pay to get our stuff seen? Surely that's what their search engine is there for. And yeah, it's
think of the people who ordered Capri Sun and got an Xbox instead. Darren.
I know, Darren. They were like, woohoo!
They'd be sat thirsty, you know, parched, you know, like with no Capri Sun, but they'd be playing on the next.
What drink have I got in my lunch today, Mum? You've got an Xbox.
All right.
I'll be happy with it.
Drink it. Oh gosh, so funny. Question from Ryan Brown: planning on sending anything more up to Habu?
Haven't got any plans right now. We had to postpone the chat with Martin from yesterday because he couldn't make it. So, but we will be chatting with Martin soon. I know I keep saying that. It is in the works.
Yeah. Just scroll down. Oh gosh. I use, it says Shazad, 1% accounts for about 10% of my sales. Cost of doing business, says Shazad. Ah, okay. What is that, promoted listings, Shazad? So he has it set at 1%. Is that right? Could you clarify? I mean, Shazad does some silly numbers. I mean, he's got like a pharmacy or something, and he's like, he does insane numbers. Like he's packaging like 300 items a minute or something. And he bought a Razer laptop. I'm so jealous, but oh, okay.
See you later, Caroline. She's off.
I see you, Caroline.
Mia Caminelli, I use promoted listings all the time, and it does say how much sales I made with it. But yes, I have to pay extra to get the sales.
See, that's the thing they do. But the fact they work is an uncomfortable truth, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose I'm just digging my heels in. I don't want to play that game with them. I probably should, especially with the car parts, because a lot of the more common ones I'm listing, there's 30 sellers selling it.
Yeah,
and because I got it so ridiculously cheap, I'm fighting them on price.
Yeah,
so maybe that's enough because I'm doing well on them. So perhaps I don't know.
When it appears as sponsored, and you know, it can. I mean, Darren has just put in, I've spent £26 on promoted listings so far, bought in around £600 in sales.
Yeah, but that's great, but how would you know? Would you have sold it anyway? How, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing to say that because the click came through a sponsored link, they might have found your listing anyway if it was something
obscure.
Yeah, it depends what you're listing, I suppose. That's what it comes down to.
If it's something obscure, I still think that you're better off without it because, you know, I understand if you're competing, like you said, Nick. I mean, in your situation, if you're competing with other sellers, then there's an argument.
Any advantage you can get, even if it's paid for, would make sense. If it's an item you're selling in volume and you've got to compete with a lot of other sellers, then I can understand that argument.
Yeah, Shazad's just confirmed. Yeah, promoted listing rate of 1%. Promoted listings account for 10% of my sales.
Promoted listing rate of 1%. What does that mean? So,
well, he said you can choose. You choose basically how much you're going to pay them. So when you're setting up a promoted listing thing, you get to choose what percentage you want to pay, basically like for advertising, really. So you can pay up to a 20% amount on a listing. So when it sells, eBay will take 20% if it sells, you know, through their.
Oh, I see. So
you choose a rate.
If you give away 20%, they're going to promote the hell out of it for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I might experiment with it just for fun. Yeah. Actually, it sounds quite interesting.
Exactly. Luke asks, "What are your thoughts on drop shipping? Ever done it?" I've never done it. No. But what about you?
No, I don't really have a problem with it, but it's never fitted into what I do, so I've never had a go.
Yeah. Yeah, a few people actually saying it. Done 762 items sold in the last 7 days, not 300. I wish. I said 300 items per minute. I was exaggerating.
How much is that? Just slacking.
Yeah. 762 sold in the last 7 days. That's just crazy. I think I shipped out like 17 parcels on Monday, and I felt, you know,
hard day's work.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Said, I think only sellers of new items, especially competitive areas like health and beauty, should bother with promoted listings. Right, that was kind of our take on it then, and that's what makes sense to me. Yeah. But I may try it with some of our more competitive car parts lines and see if I can see a spike in sales.
Yeah, always worth it. Always worth it.
Oh, Phoebe's in and says, I use promoted listings all the time. Usually sell 2 to 3 items a day with it. And again, that's new clothing. Yeah. Very competitive market, obviously, and new items. So it makes sense. It's good to know it's working for you, though.
It's good to know. Yeah, I mean, it's about seeing what you've got in your inventory that can benefit from it, really. I mean, if you've got like, I mean, it's arguable though, isn't it? So, for example, there's always tons of Super NESs for sale, isn't there? so it's arguable, or would you bother putting that on a promoted listing? Or say if you made a huge bundle but you were asking a premium because you've taken some nice photos, it was clean and the condition was good, is it then is there an argument for promoting that particular bundle because of its higher price, you know, with a sponsored link? Or do you just say, well, it's a SNES, it's going to sell?
I think the difference there is somebody who's going to go and buy a SNES bundle is going to bother to scroll through 4 or 5 pages. Somebody who's going to go on and buy a next skirt is just going to go, there it is, click. Aren't they? Because what's the point of scrolling unless it's price based? Anyway, yeah.
No, the rate means nothing. Oh, just use 1%, says Shazad. Oh, wow. Because some people are saying the trending percentages in fashion are getting silly, though, says Phoebe. Up to 10% on some categories, she's saying. And Shazad's just replied to her saying the rate means nothing. Just use 1%. I've done loads of research. Stick to 1%. Your listing comes up twice. One is your normal listing and the other is the promoted listing. Wow.
Oh, so paying more means nothing.
Well, according to Shazad, he's not. Yeah, he says he's done his research. I have no reason to doubt him. But I mean, obviously, you know, Phoebe knows her clothes market, but you know, it's always worth trying. Maybe just try it at a lower rate. Because what happens is that eBay will tell you what the trending rate is for your category, but that doesn't actually, if you actually read it, it's basically saying other sellers in your category are paying this much to us. Do you want to pay this much as well or more to be? That's basically what it is. It doesn't actually mean it's effective. All it is it so that when you click on a listing, it'll be like, okay, so it's seen it's in video games. It'll be like the trending rate in this by other sellers is like 10%. You know, is that what you want to set it at, the recommended rate? But all that means is other sellers are forking out 10% of their final.
The extra revenue they've generated just by coming up with this.
Yeah. Insane. Must be rinsing it.
Someone got a big bonus for coming up with that idea, I'll tell you that much.
Well, guys, it's actually 7:07.
Yes.
So we're gonna be calling a night. We've got over 126 people in here right now. So thank you to each and every one of you for watching, and to everyone that will watch after the fact. Really do appreciate the support. And you know, it's brilliant to be able to share our weekly water cooler chat, where we talk, you know, just about stuff, don't we, to do with reselling.
This was good, actually. I've certainly
learned a few
things about promoted listings and tin hat theories and all of that.
But we hadn't planned it, though.
No,
it would have been cooler if we'd said, let's talk in depth about promoted listings, and we could have given ourselves a bit of credit for that.
Yeah, I might have to have a play around with it. Promoted listings, that is. And then we can talk about it with... And then I've got some, you know, something to reference if I talk about it in the future.
What a note to end on.
Yeah, and like I say, for anyone who has messaged me about the clothing, we will get back to you soon and hopefully sell a job lot to somebody.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Yep. See you later, guys.